Hello, everybody. Episode 143 with Old Buck Dave here in Svolvær, Norway, believe it or not. And who's on the other
Yeah.
side of the world?
On the other side of the world is old Buck Dell, and I'm still in the good old USA, holding down the fort. So this is I just amazes me the technology we could do this. So it's quite an adventure. So anyhow, Dave, you're the one that's flying around out there.
Yeah.
What's happening?
Okay. Hey, well, just a little housekeeping. I checked. We've gotten downloads in 51 countries so far this year. So that's a lot better than last year even. So that's a bunch of countries. So somebody's listening to this stuff. I don't know why.
Well, we're sometimes we're on the head of the curve, you know.
We, we, we
I
there were,
remember when you mentioned AI, and I said, "Where did I questioned where you found that at because you had run across it."
mhm.
Man, 2 weeks after that, it just
Yeah,
exploded beyond my
yeah.
imagination.
That
So
just shows how many listeners we have that are,
we care about people. We encourage friendship. We encourage,
yeah,
staying in touch and reading books and things. So maybe who
yeah.
knows?
Well,
We got some
hey,
people that
yeah,
like to do that.
yeah. Thinking of that, I'd like to again thank Paul Treguet for the just great job he did pinch hitting for me, for us last week when I was sick in France. It was a great job. We got lots of positive feedback on that episode. So again, thank you very much, Paul. And hopefully maybe we'll get back to Saint Omer again someday and stay healthy and see the rest of the town and talk to some people there. I still have one interview in the can that I did. That it was a kitchen table interview with Paul and his wife Annie and Mary Meany. That was before I kind of went down the sickness trough there. We talked about how things are going, what lies ahead. So we'll save that for another day, though. We won't do that today.
And I should mention any listener who just tuned in, who don't know what that is, go back and listen to one of the other episodes. But basically, it's a noble cause that he's involved in, and that whole circumstances around that are spinning up again. It's getting crazier and crazier. So we want to thank him for just being a good humanitarian.
Yeah, and the three Ukrainian women that he interviewed, I mean, they were so heart-wrenching interviews. So many people sent us notes saying, "Oh man, I cried when I listened to that." So it was a good one. That was one for the ages there, man.
So where are you now? I'm
But
like I said, I'm still down in
yeah,
the hot belt. I'm in
on the
the
hot belt, yeah, you guys are cooking. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at the weather. It's crazy.
hey, something, talking about that this heat thing. They often show people with hydration, water, but the temperature, it really takes its toll on plastic. I mean, it's got to be cooking cars and anything else out there that's, the sun is just 100 some degrees. You can cook an egg on on the sidewalk, my soul.
Yeah,
So this
this
heat
is
is going to take its toll, and I think there is such a thing as climate change.
oh, something's definitely happened.
Hey,
I'll
hey,
t-
and I want to bring this up, Dave. I thought about this the other day. Did I not tell you, some time ago? I said people will pay attention to climate change when they can't fly.
yeah,
Did I not? Did I
you
not
did
tell you
say
that?
it. You did. You
I
did.
did say. I say that is going to be the little tipping point when 10,000 flights are canceled because it's so hot or so miserable or the weather is so bad. I said that is when people are going to say, "Hey, we got to do something about it." But I think by then it'll be too late. So,
Yeah.
all right, moving on.
Moving
That's
on.
that old
Yeah, well,
horse.
just to give a little update on the big trip here on July 1st, after we had did a thorough ceiling inspection of our hotel in Saint Omer, uh, drove 2.5 hours to the Brussels airport, took a flight from Brussels to Helsinki. It left 40 minutes late and made up no time. So we had like a 30-minute connection in Helsinki. So we're worried. And then finally they said, your plane's going to wait for you. So we got into Helsinki, dashed over to catch the flight from Helsinki to Oslo. We were the last ones on the plane, of course. It was a full plane. And when we landed, took the train to the central station in Oslo. And the hotel that I had booked, it said it's a 12-minute walk. Well, in our condition, it took us at least 30 minutes because we had to stop and take our breath, and geez. But it was
I'm amazed that you're able to put that kind of a schedule together. I mean, how long did it take you to sort of figure that out? That if you flew here to flew there, or did someone give you that schedule? You know what I mean? Like, did you try to?
No, I did it all. Yeah, I did it all. It took me a while because you have to coordinate when the flights are leaving and when the flight and da 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 da. So it was actually it was a lot of work. I will say it, put a lot of work into this.
So let's point out that those of you who jump on the tour bus, it's different than what you did. You built this thing from scratch, which
I
I find
did.
amazing. I really find that amazing, and I picture you moving through those airports and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
So anyway, so it was weird. Our hotel in Oslo, it was auto check-in. There's no lobby. I mean, there's no people in the lobby. You just kind of, you got a screen there and you fill in your data and they say, okay. And then there's a little machine there and it generates your room key. So we did that, ate at the hotel at 9 p.m. It was a real crazy day in town. That was our first real meal. And we crashed. And then at 10 p.m., a street band started playing below us. And they played till 3
outside your
a.m.
window.
outside our window. They played till 3 a.m. Oh, jeez. The
so
next
so
morning, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
now I was say, let me stop you there for a second. They eliminated an individual to check you in. They figured out a way to do that automatically with
They
artificial
did.
intelligence or something. Or
They did. Yeah. And
wow, that's a
yeah,
little novelty. I don't think. I mean, I haven't seen that anywhere here, but maybe
yeah.
that's USA bound too, I suppose.
Then another little cute little thing is there's another little screen there where you can order a taxi. Do you want your taxi now or when do you want it? And you key in your phone number and when you want the taxi. And so I did that. Guy showed me how to do that. Held our breath the next morning. And unfortunately, there was a guy I guess he was kind of the night cleaner at the hotel. 'Cause there's no people, there's no staff in this hotel. He said, "Oh, were you waiting for?" I said, "Yeah, waiting for a taxi." I said, "I ordered it yesterday." He said, "Well, I'll call him just to make sure," and he did. So I thought that was really sweet. Yeah, and so he called him and said, "Yep, the taxi's booked. It's on the way." And he says, "I'm going home. Take care, man. Bye bye." So
So, and I have another question. Basically, you're able to get by in English without too much trouble.
everybody speaks English here.
Okay, okay, I thought so.
Everybody speaks English. Yeah, they speak English a lot better than a lot of us do. I'll tell you.
Well, that's a big plus if you're
It is.
traveling.
Oh, it's really a big plus. Yeah. I'll talk a little
Struggling.
bit more about that later, actually. Yeah. So anyway, the taxi took us to the train station, and we got on the train to Trondheim, which would be our first city we were going to spend some time. It was a 6.5 hour train ride. Beautiful train ride. We got some elevation up to the point where, I mean, it was all green, but there were patches of snow in the hills around us. Very pretty. And then came back down, ended up in Trondheim, which is a city of around 200,000. And it's on the Trondheim fjord. As we got there, we did another 3-night ceiling inspection.
The train, are they high speed? Or they just kind of multi-stop
This
along
one
the
was
way?
not. This one was, it had maybe 3 or 4 stops on the way to Trondheim. But it wasn't a high-speed train, but it wasn't a local either. It wasn't stopping at every
Mm.
town. So it
So
was nice. It was pleasant. It's
6.5 hour train ride. You could go from Pittsburgh to Washington D.C. That something like that.
yeah,
That'd
I
be
get
that would
yeah,
be about the distance, about maybe
yeah.
400
Okay.
miles, something like
Yeah.
that. So okay, so you made it to this destination by train. Now you're
So we spent three nights in Trondheim and mostly just really, walked around the center of the city a little bit. We're really too pooped to do anything more adventuresome than that. But we were feeling better every day. The hotel was really nice. We were really happy with the hotel. It was a Thon hotel. Staff was real nice. I was still feeling kind of bad, and I talked to the woman at the desk, and I said, is there, can I visit a clinic or something here? And she said, the only one to go to is the hospital. She said, we have a bunch of doctors around town, but who knows, they're not there half the time. And she gave me the phone number. I couldn't call them on my phone. So she called them on her phone, put me in touch with a woman at the hospital, and she kind of diagnosed me over the phone, believe it or not. Gave her all the symptoms. And then here's the kicker. She said, how old are you? Okay.
Yeah.
And I said, 77. She said, just take it easy for a couple of days. She said, there's nothing we can do to make you any better. There's no medication or anything. You just gotta chill. And we did, and it worked. And again, it was very, very nice, very nice.
I can't tell you how many times I've heard that diagnosis in the last couple of weeks. 77. Oh,
Yeah. Well, that changes things. Yeah.
beware, old bucks out there. Double
Yeah.
seven is a tough one.
Yeah. Then after 3 days, on July 5th, we boarded a ship in the Hurtigruten line. The ship was the Polarlis, and it was a 400 passenger, so it was small by cruise ship standards, but that's really quite big enough for me. I really don't have any desire to go on the big cruise ships. Most of the people had started at Bergen, which is in the south, and were working their way up to the top of Norway, basically. And so we stayed there for 2 nights.
Hey, Dave, I have a question.
Yeah.
When you say cruise ship, it was a ship that took you from one point to another. It wasn't making a circle and coming back to where you started, was it?
It was heading up the coast. It started from the southern part of Norway, the town of Bergen, and it would stop at every day. It would stop at a different town on the trip north, and it would go to
almost like a ferry or something. It's almost like a train. I mean, this was carrying people to people, dropping them off, and
yeah.
carrying.
A lot of people had booked for the whole thing, and some of them had booked a round trip where you go all the way up north.
Oh, okay,
and
okay.
take it all the way back.
Okay.
And then at these different locations, you can get off. Some places, some cities, they'll only stop for 15 minutes to let somebody off or on. But in some of them, you can do these different excursions. And we did 2 excursions.
Well, there's a lot of water up there, and that's a viable means of getting around. I mean, obviously,
yeah.
You couldn't fly to all those small places.
Coastline is just beautiful. And the further north you go, the more rugged the coastline is. It's really kind of worn and rounded out in the southern half. But you get up past the Arctic Circle, and it's really craggy. It's all volcanic. There's no sedimentary rock here. This is all volcanic. It's just beautiful. It's so relaxing, man. It's just nice. So we.
I wondered if you were going to come back.
Well, I was wondering myself.
I saw that picture. I said, maybe he's just gonna stay there now.
Yeah. Had our first moose sausage. Had moose sausage for lunch one day. It was pretty good. I liked it. It's, it was kind of gamey. It's kind of like maybe not as gamey as deer. Okay. I thought it was good.
Well, you're not afraid to try the local cuisine. I'll give you that about your trips. Yeah,
absolutely.
You bravely, bravely eat whatever the menu implies.
Yeah. Hey, we crossed the Arctic Circle. That was on July 6th at 8:50 a.m. European time. We're in Central Europe time zone here. So that was the first time I crossed the Arctic other than an airplane. There was a little island there, and it's got a metal globe monument, and it was 56 and sunny when we crossed. So it was a nice day.
At the Arctic Circle.
At the Arctic Circle, yeah. And they have this little ceremony. They have this like Troll King. Let me back up. They asked us to guess the night before. They asked us to guess the time that we were going to cross the Arctic Circle. They gave us a 1 hour. They said it'll be within this 1 hour band. So anyway, so we put our guesses in. We were wrong, but the guy who won, he was within like 22 seconds, which is incredible. So I don't know if he was just lucky or did the math. The bad news is he wasn't there to win his prize. So the woman who came in second place she got the prize, which was, they had this autographed flag that they gave her. All the, the staff autographed it, and they wrapped her around this flag, and then they dumped ice water on her head.
Oh,
Yeah. And then people could line up to get ice water dumped on their head if they so chose. So it was funny. It was a hoot. And then that evening,
that's like a great trip.
the captain came out. He passed out fish soup to everybody and hot rum drinks. So it was kind of nice. It was kind of nice. And that would have been, I don't know, 10 o'clock at night. It was funny. I had it instinctively. There was the sun was between two peaks, and I said, "Oh, I'm going to catch the sun before it sets." So it was perfect timing. And I took a picture, and the sun didn't go anywhere. It just kept moving from left to right. Like, oh, that's right. It doesn't set. It never sets up here. So that was funny.
That would be an interesting experience in itself. So when did you get to Bobo?
Bodø or Bodø.
Bodø.
Bodo. It's pronounced Bodø.
Was that your final destination?
It was not our final destination. We stopped there on the cruise ship, and since I knew we were going to be back there, I had signed up for an excursion. So we did this bus thing. It's called the Saltstraumen, which is the strongest tidal current in the world. It was pretty amazing. And so there's this channel that between two fjords, and the water just, with the tides, just gushes back and forth, 4 times a day, twice this way, twice the other way. It's got like a 2-meter height change. So it's not like the tides in Canada, but they said it's the strongest one. And it's interesting. It's only 9,000 years old. They say the water level used to be a lot higher around there. Now he didn't explain why the water level went down, or if he did, I didn't get it. So that's what's left is this channel between the two fjords. There's a cafe there, by the way, and it's now housing Ukrainian refugees, which I thought was pretty sweet.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Way up north. But you sent me a picture of a boat that fascinated the heck out of me. Is that there? Was that where that was at?
That was in Bodø. Yeah, that's when we got back to Bodø. The boat stopped at Svolvær, where we are right now, but we didn't get off there, of course. And then we went up to Tromsø, and that's where we got off. The boat had 2 more days northbound. They were going up to Kirkenes or something like that. So they were going up to the northernmost point in Europe. Yeah. But anyway, when we got back to Bodø, we were at the hotel right on the water there. Another beautiful place. It was great. Saw this just magnificent sailboat. I think it was 4 masts. It was just incredible.
I think the way you say sailboat, if Captain Jim is listening, this was more than to me a sailboat.
This was quite a boat, as it turned out.
This was unbelievable.
It was the world's largest aluminum hulled sailing yacht. And this was originally built for a Taiwanese billionaire, Dr. Yin. No, he was his net worth. He's had some rough times. His net worth has fallen from 8 billion to 6 billion. So I think he had to sell the boat. I don't know. The maintenance but operating costs are $10 million a year. I talked to a couple of the guys on the crew, and
so there was some crew standing there along the dock.
There was some crew there. Yeah, the guy said there's a crew of 15, and and I said, well, I did some research. This was Dr. Dr. Yan Baba. It's not his boat anymore. I said, you're not waiting for some Russian crook, are you? He said, oh, no. It's a private family that rented it. And he says, that's really all I'm going to tell you. He says, but they're not Russian crooks. I can tell you that.
So, so the Taiwanese billionaire doesn't own it anymore, but he did have it for a while because this was the back of the boat had a British flag on it. It was like a
I
British
think that was
registered.
British. I think that was British Virgin Islands. I think that's what it
All
was.
the British version of it. So that's where it's registered.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It
what
was
fascinated
It
me
was just
was,
spectacular. I'll put a
yeah,
link to it. I'll put a link to it. Yeah.
if you have a boat that big and you have the kind of money to do that, I was thinking, what a great place to sail it to. You know what I mean? Why not choose someplace like that where there's plenty of water and lots of nooks and crannies and oh my soul. So
Yeah.
well, it's good to be the king,
Good
I
to be
guess.
king. Yeah. So where was I here? Let me back up a little bit here. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, I jumped ahead on the boat there.
That's
So
okay. That's okay.
so you're not in that hotel overlooking this boat. That's where we left you. That's where I
We are
left you.
okay. No, we are not there any longer. When the boat stopped at Svolvær, where we are now staying, we didn't get off. But after it left Svolvær, it kind of made an optional trip up the Troll Fjord, and I'll put a link to that also. It's a very narrow fjord, and they can go up it pretty far up it and then turn around and come back out. I mean, it is vertical walls, and you could just about touch them. It was,
Oh,
and they can only go in there when the weather's right, when everything, when there's no clouds and there's not going to be any rain, because they go very slowly and be very carefully. That was really a hoot. They were able to do that.
you did that? You went up that fjord.
We did. We did. We went up the fjord.
I'm already getting chills just thinking about that, being in a boat with the walls that close.
It
Good
was
thing.
incredible.
I mean, good thing there was no foggy day or anything else.
Oh yeah. Well, they said if it's a foggy day or rainy, they said we're not. He won't go up. But
Yeah,
we did good.
one mistake and I'll be reading about you.
Hey, I met a really interesting woman on board. She was kind of really the most interesting person we met. Her name was Deborah. She's from the UK. She's been on the road for 19 years. She said she's a nomad. Okay. Now she teaches English online, and she through American University, and she's been doing that for a long time. And she says, I do it from anywhere. I just love to travel, and she doesn't travel super first class. She travels regular class, and she spends a lot of time in Chiang Mai, Thailand. She loves it. That Chiang Mai is where my niece lived for a couple of years when she taught English there. So she said that's the closest thing she has to a home, really. She spends several months a year at Chiang Mai. Interesting woman. I had a great chat with her.
To meet someone who's a professional traveler, huh? And I complain about going through a small airport with one
Yeah,
bag.
yeah. She was tough.
Go figure.
So anyway, so we got to July 7th. We got to Tromsø. And that's where we disembarked, and then the ship went on without us. Tromsø is the northernmost part we got to. It's I think it's 300 miles north of the Arctic Circle. It's around 60,000 people. It's the largest city in northern Norway. When we had stopped, we had gone on a 3-hour excursion from the boat. Well, let me back up. When this is a bizarre story here. So when we docked, then they have excursions, and the boat sits at the harbor for a couple hours. So we had gone on a 3-hour excursion that took us to an aquarium, a church, cable car ride up the mountain, which was really nice. And got the beautiful view of the city. So that's where we were supposed to get off the ship. And they said, yeah, just leave your stuff here. And when you come back from the tour, grab your stuff, and then you can go. Great. So our bus had a problem. And we were late getting back. The whole bus was late getting back. The ship was waiting for us to leave. Okay, so they give you these little barcodes where you get scanned in and scanned off, so they know where everybody is. So I said, oh man, we have time to go to the bathroom. And the girl looked, she said, the ship's leaving now. So, okay, I think that is a no. So, so we grabbed our bags were stowed right there. So I grabbed our stowed bags. We walked down the gangplank. As soon as we got off, they started retracting that thing. They fold the rails in and start retracting the gangplank. And then in a minute, the ship was pulling away. Just as the ship was pulling away, another couple that had been on the bus with us came around the corner. And the guy was having trouble walking. Okay. He was really struggling with the steps.
Oh,
So we're all yelling and screaming and hey, 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 hey. So the ship had to come back to get them. So somehow their system failed, where their barcoding system failed. So
well, the way you describe this, with the many connections and stops and turns and twists, you did pretty well when it comes to travel. I mean, I can't make two stops sometimes, from here to there, and I end up with issues.
yeah,
So
that was the
you're doing
first
pretty well.
really close call that we had. Yeah. But let me mention on the tour that we did there, our guide was Carlo. He was from Sicily. Okay. He said he was one of 7 Catholics in the city. Cities, it's highly Norway's Protestant, big time. Anyway, he said he spoke Italian, French, English, Spanish, and was learning Norwegian. He said he really needs to work hard on learning Norwegian. He said, but everybody speaks English here with him, and he said, but he's really got to keep at it. He's been here 2 years, and he said it's just the wages and everything. He says better than Sicily. He said the only thing that's not better is the weather. So my wife thought he was movie star handsome. She liked looking at him.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. But Carlo, he made a joke. He said, you can hear the seagulls squawking all the time. He said, you really get tired of hearing these guys after a while. And we laughed. And after we were there about 2 hours, I was tired of them too. They just do not shut up. They just keep squawking. It's either from a background squawk to a frantic squawk, I guess, when they get some food or something anyway.
Well, let me ask you this. On your return, is it more direct than this? Do you have to retrace those steps to get all the way back to where you can go, make it back to the USA? Or
Yeah, well, yeah, here's our plan. From here, we're going to fly to Bergen. Okay, so we're Svolvær. We have to reconnect in Bodø and then down to Bergen, which is kind of in the southern, but it's still along the west coast, but it's in the southern part of the country. And then we'll spend a couple nights in Bergen, and then we take a train cross country to Oslo. Train goes west to east, and then Oslo back to Brussels, and then Brussels to Reykjavik, Iceland, to New York, to Sarasota. So we're not doing all that in one day, by the way.
No, but still putting that together, I think that's amazing that you have to keep mentally. You got to keep track of all that. You know what I mean? Like, should be at the train station to catch this train by this time, and so on and so forth. I'm telling you, I admire you for being able to put that together. I'm glad you still have your faculties.
Dude, it's touch and go, buddy. Believe me, touch and go.
Well, okay, so you'll be gone for another week and a half, and then we'll see you back in the USA.
Another week. Yeah, another week. Yeah. So we got more stories to tell, but I think we probably did enough. We probably did enough for today. I got more to tell about Bodø and Svolvær, where we are now. Interesting stuff. But nothing terrible has happened to us other than being sick at the beginning of the trip. So I think with that, I will end today's travel log. So it's been good to talk to you across 6 time zones.
Yeah. It's fascinating. Of course, I'll get a lot more details over coffee at Starbucks. Wherever we hook up for some other things. I will carry on here. I am basically okay, but for all the old bucks out there, I'm kind of hooked up to the medical system here to check this and that. So I'll be busy with those things. And other than that, I'm okay. I'll staying out of trouble. I'll look forward to your return. So So we're going to call it a quits for today.
I think it's time. I think it's time to
Well,
call
it's
it an
great to talk
episode.
to you. Absolutely great to talk to you. Anybody who wants to check in and make comments, they know how to reach us at buckstwoold@gmail.com. It's great to hear from you again. I get to go on these adventures with you, obviously vicariously, but you're a brother, and and anything you do, I enjoy with you. So, to all our friends out there listening, thank you very much. This is Old Buck Dell saying, I'll talk to you next time.
And this is Old Buck Day right behind him saying the same thing. Look forward to the next one, folks. Take care. Bye-bye.